We know you left some of your best candy stocked in the closet for a day like today because it is a Monday. And while you get through some of those Reese's leftovers, we've got Big East shoot-around for you 8 days before college basketball season begins. We are back inside our home. This just feels perfect. John Fanta here with you from New York City. And I'll tell you what, folks, the anticipation is very much in the air as the calendar turns to November. So if your football team is out of it, guess what? Basketball season is here. We have a big show for you today. We'll get to know the two coaching additions to the Big East Conference, Marquette Shaka Smart, DePaul's Tony Stubblefield, plus an inside look at the UConn Huskies, the team that is picked second in the Big East Conference. What will they look like in the post-James Bouknight era? And we'll get to know Colin Gillespie a little bit more around Villanova University's campus. And speaking of the Wildcats, that's where we start with our headlines. Villanova picked at the top of the Big East preseason poll, ranked 4th in the country. And for the Wildcats, this is a team that has the steady point guard in Gillespie. They have the tremendous wing play, versatile wings that you can rely on to do different things for you. Jermaine Samuels being in that 3 stretch 4 type of role. Justin Moore, to me, is the key to this Villanova season, because if you're going to have a Josh Hart-like player, that rise from a player who turns into a pro, Moore could be that candidate. Brandon Slater has evolved. Caleb Daniels is good in his complementary role. For Villanova, depth will be key. Can they get it from some of those stud freshmen that are coming in? Angelo Brizzi, Jordan Longino. We shall see. And the front court, a bit of a question mark. They'll rely on Eric Dixon to do some things for them down there. But this team has a point guard in Gillespie and has some complementary shooting. The Cats should be right there in the Final Four contention. Headline number 2. So who is number 2 in the Big East? Well, the coaches selected UConn. Here's why. Defense. That goes nowhere. The Huskies were top 10 in 2-point field goal percentage defense last year. They were top 30 in offensive and defensive efficiency. The offense is the question mark. Will this team have an alpha lead them with 2 minutes on the clock? They need a big shot. James Bouknight was that guy. Now, UConn had to get used to playing without him for a period last season when Bouknight was hurt. Tyrese Martin, the Rhode Island transfer, is a guy who should be able to step up. R.J. Cole is another player who was a bucket at Howard, transfers into UConn, showed his scoring prowess. Now R.J. Cole's going to be relied upon to be one of those lead players for this team, if not the lead player down the stretch in games. Can Adama Sanogo take a leap as a sophomore? Will Cook stay healthy? But you know with the Huskies, they're going to defend and rebound. They're as tough as that drive through the Merritt Parkway. Headline number 3. 2 new coaches to the conference. You've got Shaka Smart at Marquette, a Golden Eagles program that has not won an NCAA tournament game since 2013. And the fact of the matter is this: in Milwaukee, the expectations are higher than that. They are for this program to make the NCAA tournament, to win in the NCAA tournament. The Golden Eagles haven't been meeting those. They bring in a guy who's motivated, who is a bit fueled because people are now doubting him. Shaka Smart, to me, fits Marquette. And then you've got Tony Stubblefield at DePaul. Blue Demons, they've been in the basement. Can Stubblefield be the light that comes on? This program has not been to the big dance since 2004. We'll take a look at the culture that he's trying to establish later in the show. But we start with our first guest of the season, and it's fitting. It's the Big East preseason player of the year who has fought through adversity to now lead his team as an All-American this campaign. And that is Villanova star Colin Gillespie. We're walking and talking with Villanova superstar, the All-American point guard, Colin Gillespie. And Colin, tell me what the last 6-7 months of your life has been like.
They've been wild. Just dealing with a lot of rehab, getting back in shape, getting back in basketball shape. But it's been fun. It's been fun. Just trying to get healthy as best I can before the season, getting prepared, starting to play with the guys again has been great, getting back on campus in the summer, just all the things that we were used to kind of before COVID, and now kind of just getting ready for the season. So,
you called the injury earlier this summer, the MCL injury, a blessing in disguise. Why?
It just gave me the opportunity to come back here another year, get 100% healthy before trying to pursue my dreams. And honestly, it is a blessing. Like I'm here again. I'm around people that really care about me, that love me, and want me to succeed. And for that to happen, I need to be 100% healthy. I need to be in a good state of mind. And I feel like here, being at home is the best place to do that.
What does this place mean to you?
This is my home. Been here for 4 or 5 years now. I grew up right down the street, kind of 30-40 minutes away in Northeast Philadelphia, so this has been home for a while now, and I love it here, and it doesn't get much better than around here for me.
This campus has changed a bit from when you started.
Yeah.
Right across the way, they've renovated so much stuff. And you talk about this being home, and I just look at you, how things kind of come full circle. I remember getting to know you and your family, especially at the Final Four in San Antonio in 2018.
Yeah.
How much is it on your mind to finish what you started here at Villanova?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, every team has goals that they have at the beginning of the year. For us, we don't talk about championships ever here. We don't talk about Big East championships, national championships, the tournaments. We really just focus on making sure that we can become the best Villanova basketball team we can by the end.
In the Big East, you see each other twice, maybe a third time in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard Villanova guys say it before that, doing all that, like in 2016, it fell short in the Big East title game, but then they come back and they end up winning the national championship. That in your conference, you are prepared to such a degree that when you get to the big dance, you're ready.
Yeah. I mean, it's a battle every night, like you said, and you really learn a lot about yourself. You learn from wins, you learn from losses, because teams are so good in the Big East, and they test you every night. So it really is the best. I think it's the best conference in basketball right now. Every day, you're getting everybody's best shot, and it's really just going to prepare you to be successful by the end.
All right, what is something that nobody knows about your head coach?
I don't know how many people know it. He loves to golf. You always catch him, like, it might be after practice, he'll be getting treatment, and he'll be on the floor, and he'll be like practicing his swing. It's hilarious, but he loves golf off the floor. But he's the best. He's always dialed into scouting reports, films, attention to detail. It's great for myself and the rest of our team, and he really is the best. I mean, he teaches you how to become a man. When you get in here, it's not just about basketball, so that's what I love about him.
Let's talk about legacy. I know that's a big word, but when you've accomplished as much as you have, I know you're focused on the path forward here this year. What do you want to be remembered as here when it's all said and done?
A winner. Somebody that played hard on every possession, never took any plays off. You knew what you were going to get out of me every night. You knew I was going to be the guy that tried to set the tone, and that tried to help us win as many games as we could. And to keep the culture here alive, keep Villanova basketball, making sure that every team that I was on was playing Villanova basketball at all times.
3 artists that you're listening to before a game.
Lil Baby.
That's the most common response.
Yeah. Lil Baby. Meek Mill. Philly. Philly. And then last one's up for debate. It could go either Drake. I would say Drake. I'll say Drake.
What's your message, Colin, to Nova Nation here ahead of one last ride for you?
We're going to be playing hard every night. We're going to make sure we play Villanova basketball, and we're going to try to be the best team we can be by the end.
What's it going to be like to see the Thin packed again?
Ooh, can't wait. Can't wait to have Nova Nation back in there. We love our fans.
Colin Gillespie, good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Colin Gillespie. He epitomizes what Villanova basketball is about, and with him steering the ship, you know that the Cats are going to have a chance against anybody, because this team does not turn the ball over. Last year they had the 4th lowest turnover rate in college basketball, just a hair over 9 TOs a game. You have to beat them, and to beat them, To win by 1, you got to win by 10. You have to have them beat if you're going to come away with it. Because with him at point guard, if it's late in the game, oh boy, you're in for it. You're in for it, and he will lead the Wildcats into what will be a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule that we'll get to shortly. Let's begin to meet the new coaches in this conference. And this head coach is not new to anybody who follows college basketball, because just a decade ago, he took the sport on one wild ride, one that is unforgettable in the history of college hoops and March Madness, when Shaka Smart led the VCU Rams Virginia Commonwealth to the Final Four. That was in 2011. Flash forward to last spring, and the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, Marquette makes it official that they're going to go in a new direction with their head coach. That weekend, a coach who had made so many unforgettable moments happen in the NCAA tournament has a forgettable night when Texas loses to Abilene Christian. So the worlds now collide, and he ends up in his home state of Wisconsin to be closer to mom and to get back to his roots in more ways than one. That's a motivated Shaka Smart and a new-look Marquette Golden Eagles program.
Go! You down here! What you gonna do, baby? Go! What you gonna do today?
Shaka, getting a chance to talk with some of your players earlier this week. They discussed what is taking place inside the practice facility, inside the locker room, day in, day out, in terms of installing a culture. What is that culture?
Well, first of all, that's a word that gets thrown around quite a bit, John. For us, just to simplify for our guys, we tell them culture is how we act, interact, and respond. So that basically summarizes, what we're trying to create and who we want to be. For us, the 3 things we value above all others are relationships, growth, and victory. So we try to start from there. Relationships being the foundation of everything that we're trying to do. And then particularly, in a time like this, early preseason, that growth component is one that we have to emphasize every single day.
All right, together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Lewis for 3.
The key player of the 3 who were part of this roster last year, it's no secret, Justin Lewis, as a sophomore. The expectation is that he'll take some sort of a next step, if not a leap, here entering his second year with this program. What makes Justin Lewis special?
Well, he's got a really good talent base, and he's got quite a body for someone at 19 years old, about 245 pounds, 6'7", and he can really move, even being that big. We absolutely expect him to take a big jump. In fact, we were talking earlier today, and I like to rib him about this. I reminded him, you still haven't had a double-double in your college career. And I said, hey, there's no time like the very first game of the year. Why don't you set the tone by having a double-double in that first game and then no looking back. But his work ethic has been terrific this summer. I really appreciate the way that he's been bought in with 2 feet to being here. He did a great job in the spring and summer of being committed.
Good run. Good Justin. Good Justin. Good. Hey, 30 baskets. Blue down there. White right here.
Just in the last decade, you've been to a Final Four. This program was, at one point, 2011, 12, 13, making the second weekend of the NCAA tournament each of those seasons. Marquette basketball has not been able to achieve that same success since then. What is possible here?
Well, I think with the dedication to basketball here, the way that the program is supported, both within the university and then also by our fans and alums, I think what's possible here is to return to that type of success. But it's possible in a lot of places. And that's why that word is one that I think when you play and you coach, you have to be very, very careful not to turn possible or potential or should into, well, it will. Because the reality is the people that make the second weekend of the tournament are the people that A, make the NCAA tournament, and then B, win 2 games.
Sure.
That's how you do it. Well, okay, what's the step before that? Well, we just talked about being connected around a common cause, caring about each other, caring about winning, what goes into winning. So there's building blocks that have to occur, and you can't skip steps with that. So when you ask what's possible here, can we build towards what you refer to? Absolutely. But we're going to have to do it step by step.
Thanks to Shaka Smart for the time, and it was quite the visit to Milwaukee. That is an all-gas, no-brakes practice. The moment that he steps into the practice facility, Marquette was going, and he is trying to re-enter that pressure that he was known for, the havoc at VCU. We won't label it as havoc right now, but get ready for more of those principles here. Shaka Smart at Marquette feels comfortable, and that was the takeaway from sitting in on their practices. They're going to be young. They need Daryl Morcell, the Maryland transfer, to step up. They need Justin Lewis to take a leap. Keep an eye on this name, Cam Jones. He's just a freshman. He will play a role for this team just in his first season. Let's go from Milwaukee to Storrs. For the Connecticut Huskies, making the NCAA tournament last year, refreshing for the program. First time in 5 years that they had been back on the big dance floor. But a disappointing final 45 minutes and 7 seconds of the season, that being the Big East tournament game against Creighton, in which they fell short, and then the NCAA tournament game against the Terrapins. This team is old. They're going to be physical, and they will defend, rebound, do all those things. What's the state of Huskies basketball, though, for Dan Hurley and his program? We checked in on just that. Dan, as you embark on year 4 leading this program, what is the state of UConn basketball?
I'd probably say confident. We just have a lot of confidence in our direction right now. Obviously, taking a big step last year by being competitive at the top of the league, securing an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, and continuing to recruit talented players, and to have a deep and experienced team that knows what it's like to win important games in February and March, and play on the big stage, in March. Just really, really confident in our process.
You get to write a final chapter now to your UConn story. What do you want included in that chapter?
Big East championship. That's what I feel like that would be really special for us. This team has the potential to be a team that will be remembered in the UConn history books if we do what we got to do.
I feel like coming into this season, we grew a lot this summer and did a lot of different areas, and I feel like we're going to be a whole different team than what that team was last year. Everybody looks more confident. I feel like last year, not everybody looked confident in certain aspects of the court, but I feel like everybody looks confident in their game and what they have to bring to the table. So I feel like with the depth that we have, everybody just plays their game, things like that. We're going to be a hard team to guard.
One of the key questions for this UConn team, it's never a question of defense and rebounding. You guys do that as well as anybody in the Big East and right up there nationally. But the question that people are asking is, final 2 minutes of the game, who's taking the last shots for this UConn team? Are you ready for that type of role?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what you play. Like, you play in these big moments for. You come to these type of schools to be in those type of moments. When the game's on the line, 2 minutes left, you want the ball in your hands. And I can say that I do want the ball in my hands in the last 2 minutes. And I think for us, it's our whole team. We can do it. The constant work that we put in each other, day in and day out, I think any of us could take that last shot.
The Big East opener is Saturday, December 18th for you guys. And it will be a home game. It will be against Providence.
Yes.
What do you expect from UConn Husky Nation that day?
I expect everybody in here to be trying to break down the doors, the walls, to get in. If that's the first game back in the Big East with fans, So like I'm totally excited. I can't wait. This will be my first time, along with a lot of my teammates' first time playing in Gamble or in Excel with the packed house.
That's gonna be crazy, man. Like coming here, you know, I didn't expect to be in the Big East, but once I learned we're gonna be in the Big East, like I just knew with the history and tradition behind it, like it's just like indescribable. And like that first game is gonna be crazy, full of fans. It's gonna be high intensity. I just can't wait.
UConn basketball, you know, it's king, and the anticipation that our fans have. I mean, these are really, really smart, as passionate a fan base, as large a fan base as there is in college basketball. So they're chomping at the bit. I think one of the last times I was in there was versus Memphis. And the atmosphere in there was absolutely electric. So I guess that times 100 is going to be pretty damn cool, you know?
Saturday, December 18th, 5 Eastern Time on Fox. UConn, Providence. Need we say any more than that? Should be a lot of fun. Let's meet the other coaching addition to the Big East as we continue on a loaded episode of Shoot Around. It's DePaul, first-year head coach, coming from Eugene, Oregon to Chicago. Bit of a transition. It's Tony Stubblefield.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We gotta get something done today now. We gotta get something done.
The Tony Stubblefield era is well underway for DePaul basketball, and as the season approaches, it's great to be joined by the first-year Blue Demons head coach. Tony, talking to some of your players, they told me that there's a culture that's being established here, and that they feel like you're playing to their strengths when they're out on the practice floor. What are your beliefs in establishing that culture?
Well, you know, I know you got to work hard. Our guys have been doing a great job of working hard, trying to do the things that we're asking them to do as a coaching staff. So I know to give yourselves a chance to build the right culture, that you got to have some hard workers out there. You got to have some discipline, the way we're trying to go about things and what we're trying to do to get the program going in the right direction. And so the guys have been great. We definitely will play with it. That's something that was very important to me in recruiting guys that are long, athletic, that can play multiple positions, that can protect the rim, that can step out on the floor, have the ability to be able to knock down shots. Well, I think the only way to even give ourselves a chance is we got to really defend and rebound. And when I say defend, we got to be able to put stops together. We got to put consecutive stops together. We got to be able to change defenses, mix some pressing in, but we got to get deflections. We really got to get after it from a defensive perspective, and we got to finish it off rebounding the basketball. You know, with that being said, we got to limit our turnovers. And when we do get the ball, you know, we got to keep our turnovers down. But in this league, to even have a chance, we got to defend very hard and rebound the basketball. A hard, tough-nosed league. When I was in this Big East, back when I was at Cincinnati, you know, you're trying to scrape out any win that you can get in this league. You play obviously in great cities, in great venues, but every night, night in and night out, you're going to be challenged. There is no nights off in the Big East, and that's the excitement of it. And again, if you can get in the top half of the Big East, you're going to be playing in postseason basketball. So that's what I tell our guys. We've got to put ourselves in a position where we can get in the top half of the Big East. You know, the biggest thing is just give us a chance. You know, we're going to go out, compete night in and night out. We're going to lay it on the line, and just to work with us and give us a chance. Obviously, this isn't going to happen overnight. We got to put the best team that we can put out there on the floor, team that's going to play hard, that's going to play together, that's going to make the right basketball play and try to play winning basketball. And it's just going to take some time just to give us a chance to stick with us. And again, my thing here at DePaul is it's been done before. There's no reason why we can't be a team that's competing for Big East championships year in and year out. But again, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, when I got to Oregon, you know, it took a year or two for us to get it going. And, you know, once we did get it going, we got it going pretty good. It was the same thing in Cincinnati when I went there with Mick Cronin. That was in the Big East where it took a little bit longer, but, you know, at some point Coach Cronin did get it going at Cincinnati, and they've had great success since then. And I feel like we could do the same thing at DePaul. Again, it isn't going to happen overnight, but there isn't any reason that we can't get in the top of the Big East and be playing for championships year in and year out and going to postseason play.
That's Tony Stubblefield. Coach, we wish you the best of luck on year one.
Thank you very much.
First, find a way on three. 1, 2, 3. Find a way. Let's go. Let's go, David.
Well, find a way. That's what DePaul basketball is trying to do here in a new coaching era. They have an athletic director in Dwayne Peavy, who was John Calipari's right-hand man in Lexington. And now it's just a matter of starting to piece things together here. They do have a lot of work in front of them. But for Stubblefield, he knows what winning looks like. Oregon, under Dana Altman, has done plenty of it. And Stubblefield spent some time in the Big East when he was an assistant under Mick Cronin at Cincinnati back in the 2000s. Let's look ahead to the schedule here in those first couple of weeks of the season. The second week is highlighted by the Gavitt games. That's right, Big East and Big Ten getting together for the 6th edition of the Gavitt tip-off games. You can catch these games all across FS1, doubleheaders each night, 16 teams, and a couple that stand out the most. We will be inside the Fiserv Forum for Shaka Smart's first big test as Marquette head coach when the Fighting Illini ranked 11th in the country. Andre Curbelo and Kofi Cockburn coming into Milwaukee the very next night. This one means a lot to both South Orange down at Bunnies and to the folks in Ann Arbor when Seton Hall pays a visit to Michigan. Last time these two teams met, it was 1989 in the regular season following that epic national championship game between the two. Creighton, Nebraska, blue versus red. Always big when those two get together. How about Tom Izzo taking a Michigan State team flying under the radar? Potentially two sleepers in their respective leagues. Michigan State at Butler from Hinkle Fieldhouse. You've got Blue, Izzo in the same building that night. The pageantry of that matchup speaks for itself. So do the pageantry of the two brands playing that night as well in Indiana. St. John's at IU. Mike Woodson, who has New York ties with the Knicks. Now he takes over the Hoosiers. The Johnnies are a team that had major expectations. We'll talk more about them as the preseason goes on. That's a big matchup. And then Ohio State Xavier, November 18th, inside the Cintas Center. It'll be the Buckeyes' first visit to the Cintas Center ever. That is going to be something. And, you say to yourself, okay, that's the second week of the season. First couple of nights of the season, sometimes it's more minor matchups. Folks, Friday night, you better have your coffee ready because late night there's a matchup of two of the top 4 teams in America. November the 12th, 11:30 Eastern Time. It's going to be on ESPN2 when Colin Gillespie, Jermaine Samuels, and a Villanova Wildcats team that is looking to show that they are worthy of that number 4 ranking. They have a massive test at Pauley Pavilion against the second-ranked UCLA Bruins, who made the improbable run from first 4 to Final 4 last season. They bring back virtually everybody. Jaime Jaquez, Johnny Juzang. That team is going to be stacked, and that is going to be a big-time matchup in Los Angeles. It's been a while since we've said Pauley Pavilion and a massive matchup in college basketball. It's better in college hoops when UCLA's good, and Villanova's been the cream of the crop in the sport. They've won more games than anybody in the country over these last 8 years. That will be fun. And then some. Stay up late for it because you are in for amazing college hoops. Hey, before we let you go, happy birthday to the man behind all the information, the numbers. He has a formal title, but he's a Swiss Army knife of Big East men's basketball. John Paquette, our good friend John Paquette, who he's on this wall behind me. He's a part of Big East history, and he makes this show and so many other shows, games possible with all of his information, and certainly makes the talent look as good as we can. So happy birthday, John. Hope you have a wonderful day. His Eagles won yesterday. I think they just scored another touchdown in Detroit. We'll be back with you next Tuesday, November the 9th, on opening day of the college basketball season at 3 Eastern Time. We'll be the lead-in to the first game of the year for a Big East team. Villanova will open their season at 4:30 Eastern Time on FS1, and then at 6:30, it's the Big East Hoops opening night tip-off with whip-around coverage across the league. So we'll come with you at 3 Eastern Time right here from New York City to set the table for opening day. Great to be back in New York City in our Midtown studio. Thanks to Bobby Mullen, Ben Piasek, and our wonderful crew. And we'll see you next week because it's time for tip-off.